Natai, I'd just like to say, fuck you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai. And joining me tonight, I have a man who is at his absolute, utter breaking point, Shinoda.
Natai, I'd just like to say, fuck you.
Oh, good. We have swearing in the first minute of this episode.
It was necessary. It was absolutely necessary.
To be fair, it's not unwarranted because Shinoda and I have gotten together tonight because we are going to be talking about Takopi's Original Sin. We are doing a spoiler cast for it, so I want to start this out with a couple of things. First of all, this kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was vaguely aware of this thing airing. I also knew, or I kind of knew after the fact, really, that it had a manga. The anime is based on a manga that is relatively well received, despite its subject material, which not to be that guy, but I'm going to put a little bit of a warning here. Ideally, if you watch our spoiler cast, I assume that you have already watched what we're going to be talking about, or you're like me and don't care about spoilers. But yes, this anime deals with some heavy topics like bullying, depression, neglect, suicide, and we're going to be talking about that stuff because you can't actually have a discussion and analysis of this without talking about it. So I want to put that first and foremost up front for everyone.
Yeah, some serious heavy spoiler and heavy trigger warnings as well, because we're gonna be getting into some pretty uncomfortable stuff. So there's your warning.
This is your warning to leave now if you're not really into that stuff. I do highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, even if you're someone who doesn't care about spoilers, to go watch it, but only watch it if you have a clear mind. This is not something to go into if you yourself are, like, we kind of joked at the beginning, but if you are actually at your breaking point, maybe not the best thing to watch.
Yeah, there are, as soon as I finished watching it, actually not even, while I was watching it, I straight up messaged several friends like, hey, maybe you might be hearing about this pretty soon because it's got pretty high scores. Do not watch this.
Yeah. I wanted to put that up front because we very seldom on this podcast deal with or like review anime with this kind of heavy subject matter. Not to say that we never do, but it's rarely done in a way that it is in Takopi's Original Sin. That being said, let's actually get into the spoiler cast itself.
Woohoo! Technical details. Let's go, Alex.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too long on this because the crux of this and what I really want to talk about is the story, but I also do want to give props to the people behind the scenes that made this happen. So this anime adaptation was written and directed by Shinya Ino, and it is based on a manga of the same name by Tyson 5. Now, I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce this person's name, but that is how I'm going to pronounce it because that is how it is written.
Yep.
And the music in this is done by Yoshiaki Fujisawa. Now, when I saw that name when I was doing some research for this, I'm like, that name sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure that we have talked about this person before. And we have, because this is the same person who composed the music for Mushoku Tensei, A Place Further Than the Universe, Gate, No Game, No Life Zero, and most recently, an anime more of you should 100% be watching, or have watched because it's ended now, is Apocalypse Hotel. And the music in that is pretty good too.
So it's actually someone we know very well because he's done other fantastic work, and holy shit, he does it again. We'll get to that.
The music in this is really, really good. I also want to give the dude. I mean, this isn't just the composer. To be fair, I think this has more to do with editing and direction than anything else. But there are moments in this show, especially in the sort of heavy scenes, shall we say, where the music just cuts out, and you have the moments where the abuse, the bullying, the whatever it is, the heavy stuff that's going on is actually allowed to linger, and you're actually allowed to see it for the brutality that it is without any dramatic accoutrements to it. And I think that's credit more so to the editing than anything else, than the music. But I definitely wanted to point that out. Like, this is not afraid to just let the writing speak for itself and not have any music in certain scenes or any kind of like overly edited in Foley or sound effects.
Yeah, it doesn't take a mainstay from the plot relevance. We'll get to the music.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we can talk about the OP and the ED a little bit here. I don't have much to say about them except that they are a very interesting juxtaposition between what is happening in the show, in the story, and the actual like music being played. Because the OP is genuinely kind of a happy sounding OP. I mean, it's called Happy Lucky Chappy, so I mean...
Yeah. I mean, when I was watching it, before I even knew its name or anything, I was just like, wow, this is such a happy, just happy go song. I'm just like, this is a vibe. This is a good time. Then you get to what the actual anime is, and I'm just like, oh Jesus, this is not what was promised whatsoever.
It's a very good like musical juxtaposition that is it's also done in Madoka Magica is another anime that does this, where the music oftentimes is generally kind of happy, but the subject matter is very sad and depressing.
Yeah, dark.
Which is, again, credit to Yoshiaki Fujisawa. That's a very good musical
choice.
direction to do with your score. It's a bit of a subversion, a musical subversion of what you would expect in certain scenes. And then the ED Glass no Sen by Tele. This is more like on the realm of what I would expect from a very serious, dramatic story, because the ED sounds way more serious than the OP.
It's so much more dramatic, but it was a good way to end each episode, I will say.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how some of these episodes end where he just Happy Lucky Chappy starts playing. That would be quite the juxtaposition. That would be too jarring, way too jarring.
I mean, this whole thing's a emotional roller coaster anyway, so... True.
The production company behind this is a production company by Inishiya. Now, I went and looked, and while they have worked on they did some minor production work on the recent Spice and Wolf anime remake. I don't know to what degree they did it, but the primary production studio for that anime was Passione. But aside from that, they have almost exclusively worked on either animated commercials for other things or animated music videos. And before this, the only like standalone anime thing they had really done, at least that I can find, that isn't like a music video or a commercial, is they did an Overwatch anime short.
Oh man, they did the Goon Game. Good for them.
Listen, I'm just saying. Props for making a game out of porn.
No, so it legitimately caught me surprised by who made this and how good it came out for their genuine first time making something, a full anime adaptation.
Yeah,
I was just like, holy shit, I didn't know they had this type of talent.
Before I looked this up, I genuinely never would have guessed that the studio behind this actually had never made a full-on anime before. Now, granted, this is only 6 episodes, so it is in terms of just simple watch time, it's a relatively quick and easy watch. But in terms of the subject matter, it is not.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I was incredibly surprised by that. Now, to be fair, they did have some assistance in their production from TBS television. They handled some of the planning and production stuff. But the actual like primary anime production was done by them.
Okay, so probably TBS helped out in a more managerial way of like, this is how you do this, and
Yeah.
introducing them to such
I mean,
concepts.
maybe I don't know the exact extent. All I know is that they handled. It says they handled planning and production duties. Now, I mean, they could have done a lot. They could have done a little. I do not know. But I think that's pretty much it for the technical stuff that I really wanted to get into. I guess we could maybe talk a little bit about the art and animation a little bit, because the art style is definitely different. It's not very realistic. It's very the word that keeps coming to mind every time I think about what the art style looks like, juvenile, which is very appropriate for the story being told.
Yeah, it's almost chibi like in the art style. I mean, subject matter entirely different from the chibi art style, but that's almost what the art style is like. But it's really good because it is from perspective of children.
Yeah. And that's also something I guess we can get into the story a little bit, which is what I appreciated probably the most about this story, is that it is primarily told from the perspective of children. And while sometimes the children in this story don't exactly talk like you would expect children to, they reason the way children would. Because like you got that scene later on where the main character Shizuka, or is it Shizuku? Shizuka. I should literally.
You probably should.
Shizuka.
Yeah.
I had to I had to correct Natai when we were doing A Whisper of the Heart, because the main character in that is called Shizuku. And he kept saying Shizuka. And now there's actually Shizuka. That Whisper of the Heart review that we've done has not come out yet, but stay tuned for that. But yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with that statement.
Animation and perspective of
No,
children.
It's gone. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Alex.
Okay, well, I'll continue on. No, the animation style was absolutely wonderful. It was cartoonish at times, and I genuinely love that. This was much more of a cartoonish anime. Just it's something I wouldn't introduce people to, I would say, unless they've watched other shows before. Yeah.
It's not very anime, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't follow a lot of anime tropes and stuff that we normally see. And I think a lot of that has to do with its very dark subject matter.
Yes, and because of that, and the animation style, it's very unique in how they do everything, quite honestly.
And also, like I said, going into this, I knew very, very little. In fact, I when I was talking to Natai last night when I was planning like how we would do this, I said to him, I said, I've come up with the most perfect two gifs, like memes, to express my feelings about this going in and my feelings on the other side of it. My feeling going into it was that Rick and Morty meme. It's like, let's go, quick 20-minute adventure, in and out. And then by the end of it, I'm like that Homelander meme from The Boys, like,
Oh man, that's honestly, I can't think of a better way to do that.
Because
I
I knew going into it, because I saw the artwork that this was being advertised with, and it's like it's the main character Shizuka crying. I'm like, okay, if that's how you're marketing your main character and your show, this is I am prepared for an emotional journey. I was not prepared for something quite that emotional and hard hitting, especially in that first episode. This first episode may be one of my. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick, my perspective. I did not know much about it other than the fact that I've seen some people talk online. Man, I'm super glad I have like Dress Up Darling after to watch this just to have a palate cleanser. And I'm just like, okay, I've heard this is sad, but like, good to know that you need that much of a palate cleanser. And then like, you and Natai came up with this plan to watch and record this back to back. I was just like, all right, let's get into it. I was not ready. That it took me so much longer to watch than I thought it would, because several times I had to stop and take a break just to go outside and like look at grass for a little bit.
I like actually go touch grass.
Yeah, I genuinely went outside and just walked around in the backyard for a little bit because I needed that mental break before I went back and did more. And I did that several times.
I genuinely, I am not being hyperbolic when I say this. When I finished that final episode, because I did not take any breaks watching this. I watched all 6 episodes back to back. The only thing I stopped to do was I think I stopped once or twice during the entire watch time to get up and go pee. That was the only break that I took.
Buddy.
And by the end of it, this is no joke, because I'm sitting in the living room. And I have Crunchyroll up on my TV in there, and I'm just sitting there when the credits roll and that end credit, the after credit scene plays. I'm just sitting there leaned back like this, and I'm like, yeah, I need to go take a shower and cry now. This is fine. This is fine. I'm a big boy. I'm a big kid now.
I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy. Oh no!
That was literally it. But no, I want to the first episode.
Oh my god!
It's the longest episode. This is like, I think it's 37 minutes. It's
almost 40 minutes. I was just I thought it was going to be a 20-minute episode, so I wasn't ready for that.
This might actually be one of my favorite first episodes of an anime ever. Like, not only does it sell you really quick on its basic premise of Takopi and like being this alien who doesn't really understand things that aren't like happy and joyful and contentedness, but doesn't understand like human emotions and doesn't understand human complexities. But
and not just that, it introduces all the characters. It shows the main character's perspective most of all, but it does introduce the other 2 characters as well, and shows a little bit about them. And you don't even know that much about them yet, but you start understanding them almost immediately.
See,
oh my god.
That I would argue is the brilliance of this first episode, because while you don't necessarily understand everything about them by the end of that first episode, it definitely breaks your expectations by the end of it. Because throughout this entire run of this first episode, you are convinced that Marina is just a bad person because she's a bad person. She's bullying Shizuka, and she's being super, super mean, and she's blaming Shizuka because her Marina's father is having an affair with Shizuka's mother, because Shizuka's mother is an escort, a prostitute. Yeah. And they clearly, Marina's parents don't have a great connection, a great family life. They've definitely fallen out. They're in the midst of getting a divorce, but you don't know that. You don't really know that until the end of the episode, because the end of that episode just cuts on Marina coming home, and you see the abusive situation that she's in with her parents, and in particular her mother.
And
you understand why someone would act out and be a bully because of that. Because throughout the entire run of that first episode, you think, this Marina girl's a bitch. Like, I don't like her at all. Like, you have difficulty sympathizing with her, and it's brilliantly done, because like, as human beings, right? As human beings, especially when we're in the midst,
hate someone. Yeah, you want an enemy.
No. It's way deeper than that. Because as human beings, when we are in the midst of our own personal traumas, we have this innate difficulty separating ourselves from the people that are the people that we perceive to be causing us that trauma, and we rarely ask ourselves in that moment when we're going through the trauma that we perceive to be caused by someone else, what is causing them to act this way towards me?
What's
it me,
their perspective?
or is it something else in their life that they are projecting onto me? And that's literally what Marina is doing. She's projecting her own fears, her own the negligence and the well, not even negligence, the abuse of her parents onto other people.
I'll say this: as soon as I saw the bullying start, in episode 1, I instantly clocked her. I was just like, "Oh, this is broken people, just hitting other broken people worse." I figured that out so quickly. I was proud of myself because I was like, okay, her backstory is going to be tragic as well. I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for her backstory.
I wasn't ready for how tragic it would be.
Yeah, but I was. I mean, I was just like, she's not a bully for no reason. She's a bully for a reason. Like, she's a child reflecting something else back at someone else.
I mean, yeah. It's alluded to earlier in that episode that Marina's father is having an affair with Shizuka's mother. And you think, well, okay, she's just acting out because she perceives that her mother, Shizuka's mother, is the one that's ruining her parents' relationship and their marriage. Which is understandable. You don't really understand until the end of that episode. No, it's not just that. I mean, yes, that is the crux of it, but well, not even the crux. It's the
linchpin.
Like, I'm on fire right now. Don't stop me. It is not just that. It is because that her parents are abusive towards each other, and they are projecting that towards her.
Yeah, like, no matter what, the relationship was not healthy. It just devolved much worse when there were excuses to be made.
Yeah, and also like the way they portray Shizuka's loneliness in this first episode is so brilliant. Like, the way when she first finds Takopi.
Bleak.
It's bleak. It's believable. It's very believable. But the way that she doesn't even respond to I swear to God, I am not dyslexic, but every time I want to say Takopi, I say Togepi. So please forgive me. When she first comes up against Takopi, like, she's very dismissive of Takopi at first. Like, she's not exactly sure what to make of it, and she's not sure if she can trust it. So it's only after several days of this, and of course Takopi being very naive to what's going on and only being able to view human complexity and human suffering through a very narrow lens, let's be honest, of like
a childlike lens.
Yes, which we find out later is like literal, because he is born again by having his memories erased. I keep saying he. I don't know if Takopi is supposed to be a boy or a girl.
I'm assuming it's a he.
In the Wikipedia page, it says it.
Either way.
But yeah, I'm going to say he. I don't know why I'm going to say he, but for some reason I just view Takopi as a he. I'm not misgendering him, I swear. It's them.
It's a squid. Don't worry about it.
It's an octopus. It's taco. It's literally a taco.
It's an octopus. Whatever.
When I first saw Takopi and I realized, oh my god, it's going to be one of those characters that ends their sentences in the same way every single time. I thought that was going to be grating. It's not.
It's cute in a weird way. Like, you hear it so often, but like, because of how often you hear it, you just get used to it real quick. Not to mention, the subject matter is so fucking bad that you don't worry about what you're hearing, and like hearing Pete at every single sentence end.
Yeah. But the viewing like the complexities of human emotion, and particularly like trauma and neglect, loneliness, abuse, through that childlike lens that Takopi has is so it's very, I won't say it's fun to watch, because that would be This is a good watch. It's not a fun watch.
It's a unique narrative. I'll say that.
It's a unique way to look at this through genuinely the mind of a child, someone who has been reborn and had their memories erased.
Not to mention, I will say this: Takopi's entire culture and how he was raised it's extremely different from how humans are, because our emotions, our intelligence, entirely different from this advanced alien species who's conquered already so many different things. So it is an entirely different perspective that Takopi is bringing onto humanity.
I would argue that Takopi, like, that perspective is really, really good because it highlights and critiques the idea of, like, superficial or forced happiness in the face of, like, deep, scarring emotional wounds.
Yes. And it's
because like we tell people who aren't going through that kind of trauma, we have this natural tendency to tell people who are, that we have in our lives, whether they're friends, family, co-workers, whatever. It's like, you know, try to put a positive spin on it. Try to see, like, what you're going through right now, it's temporary, it'll pass. And yeah, I get that's not like inherently not inherently malicious, a malicious thing to say to someone, but it's also not great advice.
Yeah, because you can never truly understand what someone is going through, because their emotions are always their own, whether it be positive, negative, mix of both. You truly do not understand until they explain it to the best of their abilities, and even then you're just hearing an explanation. You're not getting a full depth of their emotional state.
Yeah, and we've talked about it already. We have, like, Shizuka, who is like an exploration of childhood trauma, the childhood trauma of, like, bullying, of neglect, and kind of loneliness as well. Because, like, Shizuka's only, like, genuine companion that she perceives is the dog Chappie. Like, without Chappie, she feels like she has no.
It.
Yeah, she feels like she has no purpose. Like, that's also the crux of the first episode, where you see once Chappie is taken away and put in, like, a animal control space, and it's kind of alluded to that they put the dog down.
They 100% put that dog down. Like that. That's without a doubt.
Her immediate reaction is to kill herself.
And you know what? It's such a dark thing, and, like, some people might think, wow, that's kind of ridiculous. But you have to look at it from her perspective. She's even said it multiple times. The only thing positive in my life, the only thing I'm going for in my life, is my dog, Chappie. I love him to death. He is everything to me. He is her entire world. And the moment Chappie went away, she didn't have anything to live for.
She specifically says, and this comes up multiple times throughout the rest of the runtime, Chappie is the only thing only person or thing that I feel like is there for me, that cares about me, that wants me to be happy. She specifically, I'm paraphrasing, but she says these things like, I feel like Chappie is the only one who is going to be there for me, because her mother isn't. Like, while you might say that her mother is still out there making money and trying to provide, clearly she's not doing a great job, because it's alluded to that they're constantly on welfare.
And you see the discontent.
It's a one income household now, because her father is out of the picture. I don't think it's ever clearly stated why he left.
It wasn't ever stated, but I think it was kind of obvious. He fell out of love with her, or maybe fell in love with someone else. Possibly even cheated on her, considering the age of the other two kids. When we saw
see
them
him later in the show.
I was just like, oh, she's a little bit older than I thought. The oldest kid she had, I'm like, oh, maybe he cheated on her, and that's why. They never
expressly state this, but it's kind of, that's one of the, like, open questions that I had, and maybe it was, and I just completely glossed over this. I don't know, but you have that thing with Shizuka. You have Marina, who is like the picture of emotional and physical abuse at the hands of parents, because like we see the physical abuse later on, but we are like blasted in the face immediately at the end of that first episode with the emotional abuse that she is being given from her parents, and in particular her mother. And then you have a character who we haven't even really mentioned yet, Naoki Azuma, who is like the picture of mental abuse, because his parent, or well, his mother, is someone who is constantly hanging this expectation of perfection over his head. Like, you have to be perfect because your brother is so good academically and always
perfect,
gets
yeah.
perfect grades, and doesn't seem to have any kind of issues fitting in socially, physically, whatever. And like that's constantly hanging over his head, to the point where she's making like these very nice looking pancakes and saying, "Oh, you didn't get a 100 on your test. I guess you can't have these." Like,
Yeah,
what
and
a
that was
fucked
just
up
like,
thing for a parent to
holy
do, by the
shit,
way.
you abusive bitch. Like, I genuinely hated all the parents in this, but Shiva, oh my god, I did not like her, to put it nicely.
I mean, all of this is bad. Make no mistake. But man, I had a visceral reaction when I found out that Naoki's mother was like doing those mental, like, manipulative mind games with him. I don't know what it is, but that just sets off my I hate you meter. You are irredeemable in my eyes now.
It was almost to the max, honest to God. There was a couple things here and there, but I was like, okay, maybe she's not completely horrible, but just up there in terms of hate.
There was like at least one part, maybe two, while I was watching this, where I was about to jump through my TV and strangle that bitch. Like, no joke.
No, I get it. It's just it's tough watching parents abuse their children like this, and you see the children following the parents' ways in either putting out the abuse or being so affected by it that their entire lives are centered around the abuse that they receive, and it's such a tragic watch because of that.
Which it's very real. It's very real. It's very raw. It's very emotional, as it should be. Like, when you're tackling stuff like this and you're trying to portray it as seriously as you can. I mean, funny, cute-looking alien notwithstanding, you want that, because if you don't show it for what it is, if you don't show it for how far it can go, you risk making it very shallow and very hollow, the message that you're trying to portray. It's why I mean, you wrote this down here, and we can get into it a little bit if you want to, about how you felt like the repeated use of physical abuse was maybe a touch overdone. I would disagree with that.
I actually meant to expand on that. At first, when I was watching it, I did think that, okay, they're just constantly showing abuse over and over and over and over and over. I thought, okay, I get it. You don't need to shove it down my throat. But while watching, when I took a break, I was thinking about it. No, we need that expression. We need that abuse shoved in our faces to make us understand this is why their perspectives are so twisted. This is why they're in such a fragile mental state, because they have gotten this abuse every single day, every single week, all the time. This is their entire life. This is why they're like this. It's important for us to understand that perspective of, it's bleak. There is nothing for them. This is why their worldview is this. Because of the constant abuse, sadness, the complete despair that their mindset is in. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. That's why they had to show it to us so much.
Yes.
I hate watching it. I hate watching that abuse towards children so goddamn much, but man, it was important. There was a reason they showed us that.
100%. The sad reality of the world that we live in and the sad reality of being human is that this, number one, is not an isolated incident. Like, these kinds of things happen. This type of abuse happens on a daily basis all around the world. In every culture, in every country, everywhere on earth, something like this is happening to someone. And in some cases, far worse than anything that we see here. Because I guess the one thing we never really saw here, the one type of abuse that we could have seen at some point, and I was half expecting to see by the halfway point, was sexual abuse, and we never saw that.
I was halfway expecting it, specifically with Shizuka and everything that happened to her. I was honestly expecting, and I was dreading it.
I actually thought it was going to happen with Naoki, with Azuma. I thought there was going to be some grand reveal that his big brother that he looked up to was sexually abusing him.
Oh God, I would have thrown up at that point. No, thank God they didn't show that, at least. But I was fully expecting it. I'm thankful it didn't show up. But no.
Also, I want to point out, was not expecting this to evolve into like let's cover up this gruesome murder that we accidentally did.
That caught me off guard, but like once they showed why they went that perspective, I understood. I'm just like, oh, it's fucked up, but I understand. He was easy to manipulate because someone was Naoki, because someone was showing him positive female attention, and that was such a perspective that was missing from his life. And Shizuka, man, that's something to unpack. She was so happy that the main source of her abuse was gone, and she instantly went to, she didn't hesitate, she didn't think about it. She was like, oh, the source of my abuse is gone. I'm happy
now.
Thank you for killing her, my friend Takopi. And I'm just like, oh God, it is right into the tower. Just went right there.
Yeah, and then of course you have Takopi, who is like, with his naivete, is like, oh, I made her smile, I made her happy, I must have done something right. I mean,
it's a good thing I killed her. Yeah,
I killed this person. But again, a very believable, childlike thing to think. Well, I mean, I'm not thinking about the fact that this child is now dead. I am
my friend Shizuka is smiling at me and thanking me. This is great.
Yeah, this person that I want to make happy, this person I want to see smile, is now smiling and happy. Like, I must have done something right. And then you rope in Naoki to that, and like he's finally receiving some kind. I mean, you say it's positive female attention, which maybe is also part of it, but I think it has more so to do with the fact that he's receiving validation for the efforts that he's putting in. Because before, he's studying his ass off, and like he's getting grades that I look at that and I think, oh, he's getting A's, he's getting like 95s, 96s, 97s on his tests out of 100. I'm like, that's great. And even his peers, his classmates are saying, wow, you got the highest grade in the class, good job. And then he goes home and his mom's like, you can do better.
Man, I'll tell you this, as someone who is Asian and has gone through this type of harsh criticism from parents and relatives, it's tough because it really is like that. You can do the best out of entire classes, but like you will never be the best, and that abuse of who you are and like your intelligence, it's a constant belittling, and it's tough. So watching his perspective especially was rather personal for me.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but since you brought it up and you've given me the pass now to talk about it, I was gonna say how very stereotypically Asian of this mother.
Because it is, like, it's not a racist thing to say or anything, because it is flat out something that happens all the time everywhere, especially in Asian countries. And I have personal experience in this, and I know multiple Asian friends that have had the same exact thing. I mean, the exact same experience, and it's not a good thing. Is the fact that there's such a repeated form of abuse.
Yeah, I mean, I also love that they're the children's like not just reaction but solution to covering up the murder, again very childlike, because they're using these gadgets that Takopi has, these happy gadgets, which we haven't even talked about the fact that there's like a time loop involved in these first few episodes where Takopi is like trying to prevent Shizuka from killing herself, so he's having to like Groundhog Day this whole week
Over and over, yeah.
over and over again to try and figure out how to change everything, which also highlights the futility of the pursuit of happiness a little bit. Like, is it always going to be the best to pursue happiness for everyone? What if the pursuit of happiness ends up bringing everyone around you more pain than it does joy? Like, that's one of the overarching questions that this story asks. And I love that. But I also think that time loop thing with the camera was not overdone. I was really concerned when they introduced that as like a narrative device. I was like, oh my God, is the whole thing just going to be a time loop, like a Groundhog Day for 6 episodes of him trying to figure out how to make this week-long thing go by to have the perfect ending.
Yeah, just so Shizuka survives. Thank God they didn't do that, and it was subversive how they did it too. I was not expecting it.
I mean, the murder in episode 2 is what breaks the camera and keeps him from doing it again.
Yep, and I was, because of the OP and Edie watching them, it fooled me. I thought she was gonna be around much longer than what was, at least during the duration of the show. I thought, okay, she's gonna be around and all that, and this is gonna be just a constant time loop. That's what the show is gonna be about. It's gonna be pretty sad, but like they'll get there. No, episode 2 completely subverted me. I was like, oh, okay, another dead kid, but except this time it's permanent because time loop doesn't work anymore. I was just like, oh fuck, what are they doing? What is the direction?
Yeah. And I also love the fact that like their whole thing about waiting until summer break because they're going to go to Tokyo because Shizuka has been told that the dog Chappie has been taken away and is going to now live with their father in Tokyo, who lives in Tokyo. So they're like, all right, well, we're just going to go to Tokyo and actually see the dog, and that will make me happy. That will make all of this better. And we also got to make sure that no one discovers his body, so we'll use this happy gadget that preserves bodies to just put her in there, and we'll just dig a hole and throw it in there. And of course,
a very shallow hole.
They also don't, again, like children would, they don't think about why there's signs up saying that they don't want people in that part of the forest. They don't realize that, oh, maybe it is because they're about to do some excavation in there.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been anything. They didn't even say excavation or anything. It was just,
they were
hey,
doing a geological study.
Yeah, they were, but that sign didn't come up until later. It was just, hey, stay away from this area.
Yeah. But they don't even think about that. And it's like that whole thing with like, let's go. If we just go to Tokyo and see the dog, everything will be okay. My sadness will go away. My bully is dead now, so I don't have to worry about that. And we've buried her, so she's never going to be found. Like, it's very naive. It's very childlike. And I like how that just kind of naturally evolves through the planning.
I do have to say, I love the little happy-go-lucky montage that they had between the three of them, Takopi, Shizuka, and what's his name? Naoki. Just them hanging out, doing fun stuff, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty cute. Where is this heading?
This is the most fucked up meet cute I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was just like, this is not gonna end well, but this is such a happy moment, and they have some relief in their lives briefly, and I was just like, this is only gonna get worse.
Yeah,
not better.
As fucked up as it is at least for them, for their own perceptions, a time where they're happy and together. But then, like, again, with Naoki like craving attention and affection, and Shizuka like having this pathological like need now to have people validate her feelings of wanting to just feel better. And be better. Like, This dude is ready to just take the fall for the whole murder when the body is discovered, because Shizuka just flashes her eyelashes at him and is like, "You'll do this for me, right? Because you want me to be happy."
And it's interesting because when I was watching that, I was like, "Oh, this all the way started from her the bullying she received, from the self-esteem she didn't have because of that. It was the base building of a psychopath is what that was. And you see it come to fruition with her telling Naoki, hey, take the fall for me because you're my friend. And I'm just like, oh my god.
You do that for your friend, right?
Like, I approve of you, so
and
take the fall for me. And he almost does. He legitimately almost does.
Well, he does. He goes to the police and confesses. The police just don't believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great little thing. And yeah, what you're talking about, right? Is they bring this up. I think it's in the next to last episode, or it may even be in the last episode, where Takopi still doesn't really understand this, because Takopi is still looking at this through the lens of someone who only understands stuff through happiness, through contentment, and through like this forced happiness, this forced contentment that the culture he comes from exercises. And he doesn't understand that with humans, no matter how good any person you ever meet is in your life, and this is a very real thing, human beings, the best of us, are capable of some of the most heinous shit when we are pushed up against a wall. When our backs are against the wall, we will do the most heinous shit ever for self-preservation. And it's human nature. This is brought up brilliantly. It always goes back to this. This is brought up brilliantly in an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where there's an alien character who looks at his nephew and says, "Nephew, listen to me. Humans are wonderful people. They are some of the most kind, generous, warm-hearted, loving people you'll ever meet in this galaxy. But you take away their creature comforts, you back them up against a wall, you make them like in a life or death situation for days or hours or weeks on end, and they will become as bloodthirsty as any animal you've ever seen in this galaxy."
Man, that is a bit horrific of a description, but completely correct. Based off of everything I know.
When we talk about human nature, this is one of the primary things we talk about. Humans are capable of great good. They are capable of great evil. Very rarely will you ever come across a person who is solely one or the other. A vast majority of people on this planet are shades of gray. I guarantee you almost everyone you've ever seen has a dark secret that they are carrying around with them, whether it's something that happened years ago or 5 minutes ago. It does not matter. Jung talked about this when he talked about the shadow, when he talked about how people carry around these burdens of self, and it is part of what having consciousness, it's part of what having intelligence does to us, that we have to carry around these things with our emotion, and that is what living with emotions does. And Naoki talks about this with Takopi, and I believe it is the final episode, where he's literally laying all of this out, and it's like, people aren't good or bad. Like, the best people out there are capable of the most heinous evil. And when this story starts out, you as a viewer are very, very sympathetic to what Shizuka is going through with the bullying, with the neglect, with the loneliness. And the more she kind of gets these things that she perceives is making all of this better, the worse of a person she becomes. Her happiness makes everything else around her objectively worse, because it has resulted in the death of one person, the social ostracization of another, and now she's literally pushing Takopi away from her, because in that episode where they go to Tokyo and meet her father just outright rejects her because he has this new family and everything. And like, that is like her actual breaking point with Takopi, because like when they're underneath that little bridge or whatever, that pedestrian walkway, and she just when Takabi's like, maybe we shouldn't do, because she's on her actual like Sith Lord arc right now. She's like, oh well, just gotta go cut the kids open because they ate the dog.
And honest to God, it does show in the newspapers that the kids went missing and everything, and then they were found later. Never said whether they were dead or alive, so I think it might have implied that she did in fact cut them open.
Either that, or she stole them for a while and then realized, wait, this is kind of stupid. I should let them go.
We genuinely don't know what happened, but considering the fact that she's already helped with the
we don't know what happened because she reaches her breaking point with Takopi and she just knocks his ass out with a rock.
Yeah, which didn't even know that was possible, considering how much Takopi got knocked around and was pretty much just fine afterwards, just because different alien body. So
which we get. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so we legitimately don't know if she also killed 2 kids as well, and then she was just living homeless, the homeless lifestyle. And I'm just like, oh dear God, I genuinely don't know what happened with that, but like it's so much more interesting because of that, horrific as it is.
And when we after that whole thing with Takopi getting knocked out, we get what is kind of a flashback, but is also a flash forward because it takes place in the future. But it's the first time that Takopi visited Earth, because originally Takopi visited Earth and befriended Marina in 2022 when she was a teenager. And
man,
I love
this was
that
a
because
twist.
You get a completely different perspective on this character, and you see that like if none of this had happened and she had been allowed to grow up, she still would have faced abuse, but she would have ended up becoming a better person through it.
And it's such a interesting perspective because of that. You hear that she does attempt suicide as well, but she does live through it. But the rope breaks, and she does live through it. You see who she becomes. But Marina, she's...
Do you realize what you start... Well, did you realize what the story was trying to say through all of this? Because when I realized it, I was like, holy shit, Takopi is like actually the villain.
Yeah, and
because
it really settled on to the fact.
All of the gadgets and all of the things he's trying to do to fix this is what's causing all the misery. It's his forced positive outlook on everything. It's his naivete in thinking that everything has to be happy and positive all the time that's causing this misery to be prolonged.
And it's funny because once you gain that perspective and realization, you realize, no, episode 2 was not Takopi's Original Sin. That title drop, as impressive as it was, that was a lie. The Original Sin was showed off in, what was it, episode 5? Or was it 6? No, I think it was 5.
It's the next to last episode.
Yeah, it was in episode 5. You see the true Original Sin. Takopi choosing to go back in time to actually kill Shizuka. Oh my God.
But his memories were taken away, so he couldn't remember to do it.
Yep, and then when and he befriended Shizuka instead. Holy shit.
Can I just say, I don't want to get super deep in this because I could literally talk about this for 5 hours. But
I really could.
This harkens to the very Christian idea of original sin. So for those who may not have been born in like a Christian like household or whatever, and maybe don't understand this, like the idea of original sin in Christianity says that all of us are born with an original sin because Adam and Eve disobeyed God in the Garden of Eden. And we all, as human beings, by our very nature, have to live with that sin, and we only find forgiveness through the belief in Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Religious propaganda aside.
I'm not going to say whether it is or it isn't. I don't listen. If you believe in that stuff, I'm all here for you, man. I'm not gonna disparage you, but that is like a genuine take on like the idea of original sin, because Takopi commits this original sin in their society because it had never been done before, where he like smacks the mother tentacle thing and no one had ever seen anyone do that before. What happens immediately? He's cast out of his society, like Adam and Eve were cast out of the Garden of Eden for disobeying God.
And I genuinely love that not even perspective, that parallel, because I'm just like, okay, I see this is where it's coming from, and how the story relates to that. It brilliantly done, brilliantly done. I have to say, I when they first introduced time travel, I was extremely worried because time travel is anyone who writes or has read anything time travel wise knows that it's such an easy way to fuck everything up and make your story so horrible. Author did it
as a
actually
weeb, I
good.
only got one thing to say in that regard.
And to say, oh, I was about to say, no. Time travel is not easy to do. Time travel is very difficult to do. How they did it in such a closed off system way made it pay off. It was
did.
Beautiful, very well done. Go ahead.
I will say, and it's probably the only major criticism I can lob at this, is that the ending is kind of a Deus Ex Machina, a little bit. Like maybe I missed this as I was watching it, but I don't think Takopi's like happy power where he's able to sacrifice himself and fix the camera. I don't think that's ever alluded to. I don't think there's ever any setup for that.
There wasn't at all. But you know what? Even though that it was a Deus Ex Machina that they did, like all of a sudden, oh, I'll just sacrifice myself just to make everything better. And it did make everything better, but I'm just like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, what?
It didn't make everything better because it's definitely not a fairy tale ending. Like, Marina is still being abused.
It's a more realistic ending.
Yes, that's something I was gonna say. Is like the ending itself is very realistic in the sense that while some issues do get resolved, it's not a magic fix for everyone's problems, and we don't all live like happily ever after. We still have our problems. We're still facing our abuse. We're still living with our trauma, and we're going at it day by day. And to the point where the realization for Naoki is like, I don't even need to hang out with these bitches ever again. Like, he starts hanging out with the other kids, and he, like, in that one of that last scene where you see him, he's like, he's going to say something to Shizuka, but then he's like, fuck it.
Yeah, and like the fact that he actually starts talking to his brother, arguing with his brother, I love that for him. I like it was a good way to say, yeah, no, you can have a relationship with your brother. And I will say before Takopi sacrificed himself, like when he was when Naoki was gonna show Naoki was talking to his brother. I'm sorry, I'm completely when Naoki was talking to his brother and they had a heart to heart, Bro, I was crying. I was just like, yeah, no, his brother. Like throughout the whole show, you were seeing his brother trying to communicate with Naoki, just like, hey, how are we doing? Anytime you want to talk, all that, and eventually it reached that zenith of, you're my brother. I love you no matter what. I was ugly crying at that, and then after the reset, when Takopi sacrificed himself to change the timeline, and the fact that the brothers are actually communicating and he's getting along with them, and like he has a life now, I'm just like, good, very good. I'm sorry, you were about to say?
No, I want to give special props, especially in that final episode, to Shizuka's voice actor. I mean, I will say all of the characters are pretty well voiced throughout this, but Shizuka's voice actor, Reina Ueda, in particular, in that final episode, when she's when she breaks down in front of Takopi because Takopi doesn't understand the emotions that she's feeling. Like, there is like some genuine raw emotion, delivery of those lines. It harkens back to me to one of my favorite voice performances ever in anime, in when supernatural battles became commonplace. And I think you all know the scene that I'm talking about, where it's the "I don't understand" scene, or rant. That is really well voice acted, too. But that's the scene in the final episode of Takopi really harkened back to that for me. And I feel like, man, by the end of her rant and she's like bawling her eyes, I'm like, girl, I feel you. It's not easy being human. It's not easy being sentient.
No, it's not. And I have to say, speaking of voice acting, though, that voice acting right there, when she was that emotional input just coming through so raw, I honestly might be some of the best voice acting I've heard this year, period. In the past couple of years, honestly. Like, that was something special.
And I like the fact that with the wrap up to this is you do essentially see Marina and Shizuka make up, for lack of a better term, because they still, once Takobi sacrifices himself, they still have these latent memories, but they don't really understand them. And so, like, it all stems from
they have a common point.
Yeah, well, and Marina sees the sketch of Takopi in the notebook, in Shizuka's notebook. It's like, what is that? It's like, I have a vague memory of that too, but I don't really understand it. And that's how they start to bond, and like they fix their trauma. But I won't say fix. They start to repair the trauma that they both have felt.
And they have an actual bond instead of just hating each other.
Yeah. And then you get that little after credit sequence at the end of the final episode where they're like shopping at the stationery store and they see that pin that looks like the pin that Takopi had as one of his gadgets. And I'm like, yeah, that is actually not a bad little bow to put on the end of this. It's not a happy ending in the traditional sense, because you obviously still see the physical signs of abuse on Marina, and it's still very obvious that Shizuka is still emotionally scarred from the bullying that she felt and from the negligence that she's getting at home. But you also get the sense that because of this bond they now have, that they at least have someone they can share that trauma with in a somewhat healthy way.
And honestly, I am glad that this ended on a much happier note than it could have gone. We went through such an emotional roller coaster of trauma, grief, actual suicide, and the fact that while it's not completely happy, the fact that we see them growing up, getting through it, and them having each other in their lives, it's realistic, and it's something I deeply appreciate because of that.
Yeah. I guess we'll wrap this up by talking about like our overall thoughts and score on this. Now, I will say previously, if you watched it, you will have heard me said on our Apothecary Diary Season 2 Spoilercast that I thought that anime was my anime of the year so far. And it's still really good. I think this is better. I genuinely think this, as of right now, as of the time of us recording this, is my choice for anime of the year so far of 2025. I absolutely adored this. I hesitate to just say it's for everyone because it's not, but it is very, very nice to see an anime tackling these very dark, these very depressing, and these very real and raw subjects in a respectful way, in a way that showcases them for what they really are, and not a sort of a bastardized version of what they are for the sake of entertainment.
Jesus, Alex, how am I supposed to follow up with on that?
I don't know. The score I give it though is a 9.5 out of 10. The only criticisms I can make are nitpicks here and there. And like I said, the only major criticism I have is that I really wish that the whole thing with him having the happy power to repair the camera had at least been mentioned or set up in some way, shape, or form.
Again,
maybe it was and I just missed it.
Yeah. I don't think it was. I think it was a Deus Ex Machina. It did not come up before. I don't know how to follow up on Alex's because
you can just say,
like,
I agree.
Pretty strong agree. I don't know if this is my anime of the year, but it is definitely on the probably top 3 list. Again, we still have half a year left to see what happens, but this was incredibly moving. This touched me raw and extremely emotionally. I somewhat hate the fact that I had to binge through this. Just because I would have loved more time to process this emotionally, but because and that's just scheduling. Don't worry about that. This was such a unique perspective on depression, abuse, the mentality of children who are going through it. It's something I haven't seen in a long time. It's something I haven't read in a long time. And to see something like this again, it was hard to watch. It genuinely was. I said it earlier. I genuinely had to take breaks from watching this a couple times just because I needed some time away. Because of that, this is definitely one of my highest scoring animes. It's also something I'm going to be extremely selective about recommending. I'm going to anyone I do say recommend it to, I'm going to make sure first, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Are you on any medications? No, it's a serious thing though, because this deals with such heavy topics and deals with it in such a relevant way that this is a difficult recommendation. I genuinely love Takopi's Original Sin, and I'm going to be giving it a 9 out of 10 as well. Highly recommend it. Do not watch it if you are not in a good place.
Yeah. And that's going to be it. That is our Spoilercast, our review of Takopi's Original Sin. Let us know down below what you thought of Takopi's Original Sin. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Let us know down below in the comments. I would love to read them. I want to hear more of what people have to say about this, because I definitely think it's one of the best things that's come out in a while, and I want more people to watch this. I want more people to talk about it. But do not forget to like this if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Check down below where you can find links to all the stuff Anime Club After Dark does, a link to our Discord server, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. We have a link to our merch store down there as well if you want to support Anime Club After Dark that way. With all that being said, though, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, Shinoda.
2 quick things. One, I hope Ian gets around to doing this, because I am really looking forward to his perspective.
I would love to see Ian make a video essay on this.
Second thing, if you are feeling really bad emotionally or suicidal or anything, please reach out for help. I'm sure Alex will put resources that you can get that help in the description. But
I will
reach out to people, please. And that's all I have to say.
Bit
of a downer, but
let's go find something more happy to watch. Hey, Shinoda, this is your cue to watch Yudu Camp.
I need some happy watching now. Yeah.